from tough waves to heavy winds.
I just came out today and it opened up, I guess, around 8:30 this morning.
The local pier that was still intact following Hurricane Dorian.
Plus, suited up and ready to go. The supplies coming to the Bahamas from the River City.
But first, a boy was taken to the hospital following a shooting in Arlington.
I was in my living room. My 11-year-old's outside playing.
What police say he saw before he was shot in the back. Action News Jax at 10 starts now. Tonight, a gun battle in the streets of a quiet neighborhood leaves one child shot. I'm Bridget Matter.
And I'm Ben Becker. Danny is in Arlington on Townsend Boulevard. Danny, you spoke to someone who helped one of the boys.
Yeah, the neighbor told us he recognized two of the children from the neighborhood, so he invited them inside his home for shelter. But after a couple of minutes, he noticed that one of them was bleeding from what he believed to be gunshot wounds. Police say at 5:20 tonight, several shots were fired outside the Townsend apartments in Arlington. According to JSO, a blue minivan pulled up to two young boys. And after the boys and someone in the van exchanged words, a gun battle broke out in this quiet neighborhood. One of the boys was left with two non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. One neighbor who didn't want to show his face on camera says he heard so many gunshots that he wasn't even sure what it was.
To the point where I thought it was something else, like maybe somebody was firecrackers or something like that, because there was just that many shots going on.
JSO says one boy was taken to the hospital, but both are being uncooperative with police. In Arlington, Danny Bozzini, Fox 30, Action News Jax.
Developing now, a 14-year-old is dead following a car versus pedestrian crash in Ocean Way. Action News Jax broke the news about the crash at 6. Since then, police say the teen ran out into the road to get into his family's van. Officers say he was hit by a car on Cedar Point and Saw Pit Road. JSO says this is the 116th traffic death in Duval County so far this year. Tonight, a large construction crane toppled over following Hurricane Dorian. You can see the crane lying on the side of a building in Nova Scotia, Canada. So far, there have been no reports of injuries from the collapse. The storm toppled trees and caused power outages in Canada. Dorian is now post-tropical, but still bringing Category 2 hurricane force winds sustained at 100 miles per hour.
The Carolinas are cleaning up after their brush with Hurricane Dorian. This is video from the historic Avalon Fishing Pier in Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. On the Outer Banks of North Carolina, people are taking the boards off their windows. Dorian made landfall in Cape Hatteras at 8:35 Friday morning.
Hopefully the next one won't come and we'll be all right. Get a little bit of rain today, and everything will be good. Everything will be great.
The Coast Guard flew 7 rescue missions in North Carolina, and first responders evacuated 32 people off the Outer Banks. There have been no reported injuries or deaths linked to Dorian there. More than 1,100 Bahamians arrived in Florida today on a cruise ship. The Grand Celebration cruise ship returned to its home port in Riviera Beach today. It set sail Thursday for Freeport, Grand Bahama to deliver more than 112 tons of supplies and dozens of health workers and emergency crews. One of the passengers describes living through the storm.
It was very intense. You couldn't sleep. I prayed a lot and asked God to calm the storm because, you know, you can imagine being in the house, you can see the outside of your roof is just lifting and lifting. It was really, really dramatic, and I don't want to go through that ever again.
The St. Augustine Fire Department is looking for your help to get supplies to help people in the Bahamas struggling after the hurricane. Fire crews at the Mogala Street Station are looking for survival items like tarps, mosquito nets, flashlights, and water. They're looking to ship them out next week. The department is also looking for volunteer pilots and asks that you reach out to them directly if interested. Action News Jax is teaming up with 104.5 WOKV for a joint Bahamas relief effort. The Convoy of Care will be set up next Tuesday at the roundabout near Maggiano's in Town Center until 2 p.m. We're only collecting the items on our list. That includes water, baby supplies, flashlights, batteries, hygiene products, and dog food.
Now, dozens of people have been sending us their thoughts and well wishes to the people affected by Hurricane Dorian. Here's just quite a few here. This is Gloria saying praying for everyone in the Bahamas. Meantime, this is Hazel. Prayers for strength and comfort for family and friends and for help for survivors. Finally, Siobhan says this is so Heartbreaking. To send your thoughts and prayers, go to actionnewsjax.com.
The St. Augustine Pier is back open after being shut down to check for damage from Hurricane Dorian. Action News Jax' Megan Moriarty spoke with a beachgoer who was pleasantly surprised to see a special part of the pier was still intact.
I was upset for the couple days because the pier wasn't actually open.
Joey Wages is one of several people excited to see that the St. Augustine Pier is back open.
Every day since the storm has came here, I've been worried about these boards.
Wages comes here daily to check in, worrying that one of the wooden boards dedicated to his late friend would be taken by the storm. Luckily, it was still intact.
The pier has been closed since before Dorian even hit. People were telling us that they were finding pieces of the pier in the ocean.
I just came out today and it opened up, I guess, around 8:30 this morning.
A structural engineer checked out the damage to the pier and decided it was safe to reopen and that no repairs would need to be done.
I was happy that when I seen that it was open. I didn't see anybody on the pier as much as there usually is, but I was happy that it was open when I actually got to the bait shop and asked them.
Reporting in St. Augustine, Megan Moriarty, FOX30, Action News Jax.
Meantime, the National Park Service reopened Cumberland Island National Seashore today. Here it is. An initial assessment showed Dorian did some damage to some of the docks, but the park has been deemed safe for visitors.
Palatka police are investigating a body found in a car. According to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, that body was found in a car in the Publix parking lot off Town and Country Drive. We've reached out to the Palatka Police Department for more information.
You're taking a look at TIAA Bank Field, where the countdown is on for the Jags' first game of the NFL season. Now, the Jags, Chiefs, and fans will feel the heat tomorrow.
And First Alert meteorologist Stacey Garvilla says we could set a record.
We absolutely could set a record. In fact, we already broke a record today, 97 degrees this afternoon in Jacksonville. That beat the old record of 96 set back in 1951, and it's well above our average high of 88 degrees. We did not see any rain today and barely any clouds. 5-speed First Alert Doppler HD is dry, and because of some of that dry air, a lot of times it will cool off quicker once the sun sets. So we actually have some upper 70s through Jacksonville, mid to upper 70s through Waycross, Kingsland, also in Keystone, 82 in McClenny. We have 83 still in Brunswick and 82 in Mayport. But after a slightly cooler start to the morning, we will be heating up quickly tomorrow through the mid and late morning hours and into the afternoon. If you're headed to the Jags game tomorrow, kickoff at 1 o'clock. It'll be 96 degrees. Plenty of sunshine beating down on you. We will not be seeing any rain through the day tomorrow. By 3 o'clock, 97 degrees there, and still at 95 by 5 o'clock in the evening. The sea breeze will try to kick in, but I don't think it's going to be doing much in the way of cooling down the area. Now, if you think the temps are hot tomorrow, we'll be talking about the heat index value that you can expect tomorrow at the Jags game coming up in the First Alert forecast.
You can check the temperatures before you head out the door for the Jags game tomorrow on the First Alert weather app. It's free in the App Store.
The Jags are relaxing their rules and allowing outside water for Sunday's game because of the heat. Fans are allowed to bring one commercially branded factory-sealed plastic bottle that is 16.9 ounces or less. Fans can also get a free cup at any guest services booth and fill it at any water fountain. Daly's Place will be showing the game on a large video screen for fans looking for shade. JTA will park 2 cooling buses near ramps 2 and 4, and there will be water stations and misting fans near the buses. Action News Jax is your official Jag station, and we're getting you ready for that first game of the season. Coverage begins with countdown to kickoff tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. on CBS47. Then the Jags and Chiefs kick off at 1. We'll have post-game coverage on the Action News Jax mobile app and Facebook Live.
Right now, Bahamians are in desperate need of assistance after Hurricane Dorian. This is new video showing the destruction following the storm. Action News Jax Ryan Nelson joined 2 local pilots pitching in to take supplies to the island.
Carolyn, who lives on Great Abaco Island in the Bahamas, says her home is unrecognizable. To her, this scene feels foreign, meaning her walk is slow and dejected, and she's feeling.
When I went to the resort where I work, I cried. I couldn't believe it.
We met Carolyn thanks to tagging along with Jacksonville pilots Bob Thousand and Jimbo Stockton, delivering your donations by hand to the Abacos. We landed in Treasure Key this afternoon to find trees stripped bare and snapped in half like toothpicks. We were hardly the only aircraft bringing help, one after the other. Planes brought supplies from abroad. Others brought a chance to escape Dorian's aftermath.
Men
Carolyn echoed the same message, saying she's choosing to never give up, though she knows the road ahead is difficult.
Once you get life, there's hope. You can't get life back, but you can rebuild over. So that's why they try to be as strong as possible.
Ryan Nelson, Fox 30, Action News, Jags.
4 people are hurt following a crash in Bradford County. Firefighters say the crash happened on State Road 230A near Southeast 105th Street. We're working to get the extent of their injuries.
New at 10, development of the outpost near the Iguana Reserve may be postponed. The Ponte Vedra Corporation is offering to hold off on their plans to build 66 homes for 3 years. But that's only if the county commissioners approve to change their 74 acres from conservation to residential. If it's changed, the developers will give conservation groups and other companies a chance to raise enough money in 3 years to buy their land. It's a move that the Save Guana Now group says won't get them to slow their push to ensure no development happens on the land.
It's certainly, I wouldn't call it bad news in any way. You know, I would say that there's something hopeful about it. But unfortunately, it's not enough that we could, change our strategy or what we're doing, or what we're pursuing.
Save Guana Now says their biggest concern is that there won't be an organization with enough money to buy nearly 100 acres of land from the developers, and development would start after the 3 years is up. The public hearing on the issue is September 17th.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Stacy Garvilla. Another hot and dry day tomorrow, but when we cool off a little bit and see the rain return in the Action News Jax First Alert 7-day forecast.
Taking fighting violence into their own hands, what a group of men are armed with to prevent more violence.
And fighting the opioid crisis, the program allowing neighbors to safely give up their old or expired medications.
According to JSO, there have been 90 people murdered in Jacksonville so far this year. Now, meanwhile, the city has had 8 shootings in the past 5 days. So this is a map showing all the known shootings since Tuesday.
Tonight, a group of 250 men are taking the fight against crime into their own hands. Action News Jax Alicia Tarancon explains that these men are using their faith to arm themselves against violence.
You may be surprised to learn this isn't a church. It's the YMCA on Cleveland Road over on the north side. But these men dressed in purple are preaching.
You know, we got so much killing going on, and especially in this area.
They call themselves the invaders, and they want to stop the violence by reaching the youth first.
We want to let the young people know you don't have to settle for joy. You don't have to settle for violence.
This group tells me they've already talked with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and their plan is to hit all the areas that are high in crime and violence. Action News Jax told you on Friday about a shooting on West 36th Street that sent a man and a woman to the hospital. It happened a little more than 2 miles from where these men are praying. That's why they feel the need more than ever to hand out flyers at places like the Callaway Cove and Valencia Way apartments, where they see a lot of problems.
We're going to those places in order to maybe see can we talk to the people and get God in their hearts and change the way they live and change the things they do.
Reporting in Moncrief, Alicia Tarancon, FOX30, Action News Jax.
261 pounds of drugs are in safe hands thanks to a local drug take-back program. Memorial Hospital says it collected old and expired prescription medications today. The goal is to have people turn in these drugs so it's less likely they'll get into the wrong hands.
Part of the problem with having expired medications is the temptation to take them when you're not supposed to take them.
Memorial Hospital plans to do another drug take-back in the spring.
Now certified Jacksonville's most accurate weather forecast. Action News Jax First Alert Weather.
We're taking a live look downtown now from the DoubleTree Hotel. We have mostly clear skies out over downtown Jacksonville. A lovely look here from our First Alert Skycam network. Mostly clear tonight with those lows in the lower 70s. But it will be a hot day tomorrow. In fact, last year at the Jags game versus the Patriots, September 16th, the air temp was 96. The feels like temp 106. That was the hottest game in the last 15 years, at least in terms of the heat index. And we will rival that tomorrow. Kickoff temps will be around 96 degrees, 97 at halftime. And there's those feels like temps between 100 and 105 degrees during the afternoon tomorrow. By the end of the Jags game, still dry and hot, and the temp will be around 94 degrees. Now, we will stay dry across northeast Florida tomorrow afternoon, but a few of our northern southeast Georgia counties could see a couple of isolated showers, perhaps a rumble of thunder near the Waycross area as we head throughout the late afternoon and early evening hours. Anything that develops will be quick and will be dissipating as we head into the overnight. Now, Dorian is now post-tropical. As of the 8 o'clock update, this storm was still moving northeast at 30 miles per hour, so very quick, which is typical at these latitudes, but still containing Category 2 hurricane force winds at 100 miles per hour. It did make landfall earlier across Nova Scotia earlier this evening. And Dorian will continue moving off to the north and east. We're still keeping an eye on Gabrielle, which will be tracking out to sea away from the area. No concerns for us here. But there is a tropical wave off the coast of Africa, which could possibly develop into a tropical depression as we head into the middle of the week. And the newest cluster of thunderstorms being watched by the National Hurricane Center is this area here. That will be tracking westward and could possibly develop into something here across portions of the Leeward Islands. Now, that's a very low chance here over the next 2 to 5 days, but something, of course, worth watching. If you're headed to the beach tomorrow, because it is going to be so hot, the surf at about 1 to 2 feet, that rip current risk will be low, and that burn time at 10 minutes because of so much sunshine out there. Winds tomorrow in your boating forecast will be out of the south and east at about 10 to 15 knots with those seas at 1 to 2 feet. We are approaching that low tide at 10:42. Now, at the coast tomorrow, we still get into the lower 90s before the sea breeze kicks in. Then we'll be back into the 80s through the mid-afternoon hours. Inland, it's hot, 97 in Jacksonville, 98 in Middleburg. We even have upper 90s to near 100 degrees for areas like Folkston, Nahunta, and upper 90s as well in Glen St. Mary. So hot tomorrow, but that is is the hottest of the next 7 days. We'll actually be trending downward as we head through next week. This will be upper 80s, low 90s, thanks to the increase in showers and storms, especially into the Friday and Saturday time frame, which we have for you here in the First Alert 7-day forecast. Jags game tomorrow, very hot. On Monday, 94. Then we have upper 80s, low 90s through Tuesday and Wednesday as we introduce isolated showers and storms. Storm coverage does pick up a bit, especially into Friday and Saturday with those highs in the mid to upper 80s. You can always watch this forecast any time of the day. Head to actionnewsjax.com and download for free the First Alert weather app.
Celebrating the arts, the event that is honoring leaders and artists around the River City.
A new study shows millennials have different priorities compared to other generations, how long they're expecting to be dependent on their parents.
And here we go again for Florida State fans. Another big lead blown by the Noles. How they survived. Coming up on Action Sports Jax Prime Time.
Tonight is the night for the arts to shine. Our very own Tanika Hughes hosted the 43rd Annual Art Awards in downtown Jacksonville. The awards honored local leaders, employers, artists, and promoters of arts and culture in the River City. The event was put on by the Cultural Council of Greater Jacksonville.
New at 10, when it comes to spending money, a new survey finds younger Americans have different priorities than their predecessors. A poll conducted for TD Ameritrade says people 15 years or older would rather buy a car before making other money moves. Yeah, no money, no problems. I think a great philosopher once said that, Socrates or Biggie Smalls, I'm not sure. This includes paying rent, investing, or paying insurance. 1 in 5 millennials admit they'll be financially dependent on their parents, get this, parents, into their 30s, so plan accordingly. Oh, Mom, I'm broke, see? Meanwhile, the study also reveals 1 in 3 Gen Zers believe they're too young to budget and don't know how to follow one either. Issues.
New at 10, one of the 80s cultural icons is making a comeback right on time for a big anniversary. Sony is releasing a new version of its Walkman. I'm sure Ben used one of these.
Back in the day, cassette tape.
As the device approaches its 40th birthday.
Ooh.
Walkman was the first portable cassette player that came out in 1979. The anniversary edition doesn't play cassettes, but its screensaver and soft case looks like it does. The Android-powered music player costs nearly $500.
Ouch.
And drink lots of water if you're headed to the Jags game tomorrow afternoon. Those temps will be into the mid and upper 90s, feeling like 103 to 105.
And be sure to watch Action News Jax this morning starting from 6 to 9 a.m.
A little high school football on a Saturday night. I'm Brent Martineau in St. Johns County. Rivalry game between Bartram Trail and Creekside. Some big plays in this one. We'll have all the action on Action Sports Jax Primetime.
Fox 30 Action News Jax is a Cox Media Group station.
It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. This is Action Sports Jax Prime Time, sponsored by Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.
Wow. Those coaches at Florida State are going to be nuts over that when they watch that on tape.
I guarantee you that they were. Was any one play more indicative of what happened in Tallahassee last week than this one against Boise State? Against all odds, the Broncos kept possession of the ball and went on to win that ball game. Surely we could not see a repeat performance tonight against Louisiana Monroe. Welcome into Action Sports Jax Primetime. I'm Stuart Weber, and that Willie Taggart hot seat is warming up, folks. The loss to Boise State, and then what transpired in the Panhandle here in Week 2. Let's get into it. Look, Louisiana Monroe is a different type of opponent than Boise State was. At least that was the thought going into it. Early in the second quarter, the Garnet and Gold up 14-0. James Blackman keeps it himself, runs 6 yards for the score, 21-zip. Should have been a rout from there, but it wasn't. In fact, the Warhawks come all the way back and take the lead with 7:41 to play in the game. Are you kidding me? The "Oh no, not again" crowd was silenced for the time being when Cam Akers goes 44 yards on this screen pass, has some nice blockers, able to just work his way through traffic and towards the end zone. That puts the Noles back out front. But a ULM field goal here sends it to overtime, yes, OT, against Louisiana Monroe at Doak Campbell Stadium. In the extra period, Florida State goes to Akers again. Smart move. He gets in for 6, and the PAT is good. Warhawks answer. Caleb Evans scores from 5 yards out, and some thought they'd go for 2 in the win. Maybe they should have, because the extra point from Jacob Meeks, no good. FSU escapes with a 45-44 victory in overtime over Louisiana Monroe. Some game notes for the Noles. James Blackman, 30 for 40, 282 yards, but the 2 picks were backbreakers, one of them coming for a touchdown. Cam Akers nearly puts up 200 yards. Might want to use him a little bit more. And the defense giving up over 400 yards to Louisiana Monroe. Next up, a trip to Virginia next week.
The Gators' #1 fan, George Edmondson Jr., Mr. Two Bits. He said, why do they...
Lots of great tributes tonight for George Edmondson. Not exactly a quick start for the Gators against UT Martin, but they would pick up steam as this thing went along. Felipe Franks, 69 yards to Van Jefferson for a nice touchdown. Later on in the second quarter, this time Tyree Cleveland. Not even fair how open he was. Look at that. Easy as they come. But it was only 17-0 at the half. Third quarter, Florida goes to the ground game. Malik Davis from short distance. He goes into the end zone. Then LaMichael Pirine adding a tally of his own. Franks was 25 of 27 passing. The defense dominant for UF, and the Gators taking care of business against UT Martin. Next up for Florida, a trip to Kentucky. Hopefully the start of a new streak for Orange and Blue fans. A week later, the annual early season matchup with the Volunteers of Tennessee. UT losing its opener to Georgia State. Then another home game, Towson, or maybe it's Towson. Either way, should be a win. Chance for backups to get some playing time in that game. Meanwhile, the leaders of the SEC East, well, that would be the Georgia Bulldogs, thanks to an opening week win over Vanderbilt, the only conference game that was played coming into this day. The Dogs won comfortably, but still had plenty to improve upon heading into the home opener this afternoon between the Hedges.
Right up the middle, Swift with a big hole, touchdown Georgia.
Taking on the Fighting Austin Lanes from Murray State. Check out the racers. Daquan Green, he races 60 yards for a score. Used to play at Florida before transferring to Murray State, so he doesn't like Georgia, I'm guessing. Unfortunately for Austin Lane and all the Murray State fans, that's where the fun would end. Brian Harrion regains the lead for the Dogs. Short touchdown run there. Then how about defense getting in on the act up in Athens? Forced fumble on this play from the big hit there. Then a little scoop and score by J.R. Reed. Suddenly this thing getting away from Murray State. A couple minutes later, DeAndre Swift into the end zone a second time with a 10-yard score. It was all academic from there. Georgia beats Murray State 63-17 with a 35-0 second quarter.
Man, it's awesome, man. Come out, execute the offense, let those guys go and have experience, because a lot of guys can help our team. They can help the team through practice, pushing the defensive guys and pushing the older guys. And also, you never know when your number's going to be called and who's going to have to play. So it's an opportunity for everybody to go out and get better.
Some more of my college football action with the Miami Hurricanes back in action. after their week off, facing UNC, trailing early on before they get into the end zone. Jaron Williams to KJ Osborne. That cuts the lead to just 4. Tar Heels up by 4. A little later on, here is UNC looking to find their way to the end zone in the red zone, but not for long because Michael Pinckney, the former Reigns Viking, gets into the backfield, pulls them down for a sack. That would force a field goal, and Miami in a dogfight with the North Carolina Tar Heels tonight. New quarterback for UCF this evening, Dylan Gabriel, surprise start over Brandon Wimbush. Greg McCrae, well, he is not a surprise. He gets the Knights on the board with this touchdown run as a nice lane opens up right in the middle of the field at FAU. 7-0 UCF there. Gabriel not exactly the best night passing the rock, but how about this deep ball on the money to Jacob Harris. 57-yard score. That would double the lead. And UCF taking care of business down in the mouth of the rat as they are beating up on the FAU Owls. The USF Bulls, meanwhile, shut out a week ago by Wisconsin, another Power 5 opponent this week. How about a trip to Bobby Dodd Stadium in Georgia Tech? Yellow Jackets go ahead 14-3 on this Tobias Oliver touchdown run. South Florida down 14-10. Here's a chance to go ahead late when the ball is fumbled on the leap towards the goal line. No! Tech recovers, and the Bulls are now 0-2 after a 14-10 loss to the Rambling Wreck.
You ready? Yes, sir. Let's go, baby. 11 personnel. 11 personnel.
Gorgeous night for a season opener. Edward Waters College hosting Morehouse, trailing the Maroon Tigers by 6 early, but big gainer as Rashard Branch finds the big man Matthew Wilkerson all by himself. However, that drive would stall. Defense comes up with a stop. Jalen Thomas starts the tip drill. Dravante Jackson hauls it in. Interception for EWC. Second quarter, first touchdown of the season goes to Deshaun Hugie as he gets into the end zone for 6. However, Edward Waters drops its opener 26-20, your final score from out at First Coast High School this evening. Good week of college football, definitely making up for the fact that the majority of high school action wiped out this week. But our game of the week was not one of them. It was delayed by a day. The Bears and Knights facing off tonight, a little St. Johns County battle. That's coming up next.
King takes the handoff from the backfield, navigates his way through tacklers, and he's into the end zone.
Say hey to former Oakleaf Knight, Keyshawn King, making a name for himself in the college ranks, opened up the scoring for Virginia Tech en route to their 31-17 victory over Drew Copley's team, Old Dominion.
I'm Blue Holt. You're watching Action Sports Jax. Why, I don't know.
It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. This is Action Sports Jax Prime Time, sponsored by Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.
Shotgun snap to Seager. Left-handed quarterback rolls left, tries to create room, has Calhoun in the middle of the field all the way himself. 25, he hurdles over one for 20, down to the 15, breaks another tackle to the 10, the 5, and fumbles maybe out of bounds. Did it hit the pylon or did it go out of bounds? They call it a touchback.
Oh, man.
Wow.
What a play there. It took an extra day, but the Friday night blitz game of the week featured Creekside and Bartram Trail. If you were listening, you heard it live on ESPN 690. Shifting schedules are nothing new when it comes to high school football around these parts, and that's a big reason why we had to say subject to change for our game of the week schedule for this year. For instance, next week was going to be Lee and Revolt, but that game has been moved to a Thursday in October, so the schedule will be updated here in the coming days. As for tonight's game, not your average kickoff time for this battle of St. Johns County. Creekside making the short ride over to Bartram Trail. Opening kickoff at 6 p.m. on a Saturday, and Bartram Trail leading this game within about 15 seconds. A.J. Jones takes it, the kick return all the way back the other way. Just like that, the Bears are on the board. Not the way Creekside wanted to get this thing started in hostile territory, but Mr. Jones was not done. In fact, he was just getting started. Still in the first quarter, following a Knights turnover, A.J. Jones walking it in for his second score of the game. Bears up 14-0 in less than 2 minutes. Second quarter, Bartram in complete control. Running back Eric Weatherly gets the ball, takes off to the right, hesitates, then tiptoes his way into the end zone. It was 21-0 at the half. Creekside didn't make it a game late, but the Bears hold on 28-14. Here's Action Sports Jax Brent Martineau with victorious head coach Daryl Sutherland.
Bartram Trail gets the win over Creekside 28-14 in our Action Sports Jax game of the week on ESPN 690. Daryl Sutherland, the coach of Bartram Trail. Hey, you know what? As a coach, you preach special teams, special teams. How much do you practice it? Well, you let off the game with a 90-yard kickoff return. You kind of close out the game with a block punt and a return for a touchdown. Right. Special teams wins the day.
Right. I'd say our special teams coordinator, Paul Belsick, does an awesome job of putting guys in the right places, but it really comes down to that during the week, those guys practice their tails off on the technique things that make those schemes work, and they did a really nice job with that tonight.
How important to get this game in for your kids, for the families, for this St. Johns County, this area, Creekside 3.5 miles away. Right. You had to move it to Saturday night, but it looked like it was worth it.
Well, it's huge. You know, our administration, Ben Wendler, our AD, and Chris Phelps, our principal, the fact that they rallied behind this, and just we've got such a great community, both groups, and so to come and spend a Saturday night out here in a great atmosphere, really, you know, a special event.
You guys did well on all three phases, made some big plays on offense, but that defense continues to impress. You're pretty happy with where they're at?
They're doing a great job. You know, that's another thing where they practice like that. You know, those guys, they take pride in trying to take the ball away during practice and really getting 11 guys to the football, and it shows up on game night.
All right, next up, Mandarin, the state champs. Your schedule's not easy at all, but is there something about playing at the state champions in Mandarin and Carson Beck, guy that's highly recruited in that program next
week? Sure, they do a great job, and that's one of the things, you know, every week we're trying to schedule games like that. And, you know, Creekside's a very good football team. They're going to win a lot of games this season, and so every week we want a big game, a big opponent like that, because we want to teach our guys to rise to challenges.
Well, you got it next week here against Mandarin, the state champs, and you're in a loaded district. I don't have to tell you that. You know it. Congratulations. Good win over Creekside Saturday night.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, 28-14. Bartram Trail gets it done. Back to you.
Bartram Trail, one of the better teams in our area. How about Columbia Tigers, one of the best in the state right now? AA Christian Academy, no match for the boys from Lake City. First Tigers play from scrimmage, Jordan Smith to Jaden Williams. Not much easier than that. Touchdown, Tigers. Following a AA Christian Academy 3-and-out, second Tigers offensive snap. You know where it's going. Smith to Marquez Bell. 2 plays, 2 scores. Visitors punting. And here's Bell, eluding all tacklers. He's off to the races again. 20-0 lead before some fans even arrived. By the way, the third offensive play, also a touchdown. Score as many as you like kind of night, and Columbia did just that. They win big. Too big to say on this broadcast. It was a lot. Very, very high. Bishop Snyder also taking a trip out west to Gainesville to meet up with Oak Hall. Second quarter, Cardinals down 12-0. 3rd and 17. John Richardson going deep for Trey Williams. He gets by the Eagles defense, and he is gone. 80-yard touchdown. Bishop Snyder trailing only 12-8 after they make the 2-point conversion. Stop watching right now, Bishop Snyder fans, because it was 46-8. So you got the 8, though, and we got it here on Action Sports Jax. Heartbreaking loss for Trinity Christian on a Friday night against fellow state power Venice. After missing a field goal at the end of regulation to win it, the Indians in double overtime score on 4th down, then go for 2, and the win, beating the Conquerors 50-49 in a thriller. All the games spread out this week on the Friday Night Blitz. How about some Monday Night Football, Jacksonville style? 4 games on the schedule, including Oakleaf at Ridgeview, a little Clay County showdown. Up the road in Duval, it'll be 2-0 Baldwin, 2-0 Westside Monday night. Cedar Creek pays a visit to Paxton, and Hilliard goes to Episcopal. All those games Monday night at 6 p.m. Next Friday night, the Blitz returns. We'll have all your highlights again and a yet-to-be-named game of the week. So stay tuned, folks. Some big games also on the schedule. We saw what Bartram Trail did tonight. They'll host Mandarin in a district game Friday night. Good stuff to come. And now let's take a look at the bank. Under 24 hours away from the season opener for the Jaguars, Kansas City coming to town. Chiefs offense, Jacksonville defense, and oh yeah, the other matchups too. Classroom time just about over for the Jacksonville Jaguar rookies. All 7 picks made the team. High expectations for 3 starters right off the rip, and Josh Allen, Juwan Taylor, Quincy Williams. Meanwhile, Josh Oliver and Raquel Armstead will play prominent roles. Oliver not this week, though. Gardner Minshew, at least for now, is your backup quarterback. But the guy who flashed the most, the top pick, Josh Allen. Hard to remember any rookie draft pick by the Jags ever shining in a preseason like the team's number 7 overall pick. Marcel Robinson says it's all positive when it comes to number 41.
Build it through the draft. That's been the Jaguars' philosophy in terms of constructing a roster talented enough to contend with the top teams in the league. This regime has hit and missed on first-round draft picks in years past, but early impressions of one guy seems to be leading to a bullseye selection. One might say that it was destiny.
When I got off the airplane in Jacksonville, I was welcomed by a big sign, Saxonville. So I went there, I saw him, I said, if y'all like sacks, you know what I mean, and I'm the guy that got it.
He's a 6'5", 262-pound machine that somehow slipped to the Jaguars at number 7 in this year's NFL draft. As a member of the Kentucky Wildcats, he was a certified sack monster. We didn't know exactly what we would see from the rookie defensive end in terms of immediate impact, but we had a pretty good idea. When he was let off the leash during the preseason in Miami,
and he is wrapped up by the number 1 pick, Josh Allen. Loss of 5.
Our hopes were confirmed, and opponents' greatest fears quickly became a reality.
It's like when there's like a pitcher, you know, just kept throwing fastball, just everything's throwing strikes, you know. He was in the zone, he was locked in, you know, you can see the energy. He played with passion, he's getting up height. We're all very excited for him. And, you know, if we can get that out of him, Saxonville's in effect, baby.
That's what we've been seeing all along, man. That's what they drafted, and that's what we got. And he's a hell of a talent, man. Just how athletic he is, he's a dog.
Practice all over again, man. I'm just doing what I do. It's definitely been building, but like right now, I'm definitely, you know, feeling more comfortable. But you know, can't be too comfortable in this game. That's when things happen.
He's a monster on the field and quite the character off.
Why are you so bald?
And although we've only seen a glimpse of what Josh Allen has to offer, the future looks quite bright for the newest resident in Saxonville, USA. He was the top defender in the nation in his last year in college. If he can keep up this pace, look for him to be in the conversation for the top defender in his 2019 rookie class. In the studio, Marcel Robinson, Action Sports Jax.
Thank you, Marcel. The 2019 version of the Kansas City Chiefs are just like the 2018 version of the Jags. They begin their seasons with Super Bowl aspirations. Why? Well, both went to the AFC Championship game the season previous, but both lost to Tom Brady in New England. We know how last year turned out for the Jags. How will 2019 turn out for KC? That is to be determined. Do the Chiefs have the best QB in the game? Well, Patrick Mahomes was the darling of football last year. He's talented, has a rifle of an arm. There's a magic about him. All he has to do is do it again.
Jacksonville has a great defense. They have guys in every single position that can make plays, and so just kind of playing that chess match during the game and taking what's there and taking those shots when they're there is something that we're going to have to kind of work on throughout the week and go out and capitalize in the game.
Look forward to the challenge of playing Jacksonville. They're a good football team. You know, they're well coached, great organization. So we've got to come out and take the steps needed to prepare. Like any first game, there's always the unexpected. So you make sure you cover all the bases and then go play.
New pieces for that KC team. LaShawn McCoy reunited with Andy Reid from their Philly days. The Bills dumping the veteran a couple of weeks ago. He lands in KC. How about Frank Clark, the big defensive end coming over from Seattle? Big contract. might be a big matchup problem for the Jags with Will Richardson filling in at left tackle. Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger from LSU to Arizona to 1 year in Houston and now Kansas City. He is a playmaker. Meanwhile, the Jags with a big acquisition of their own. How about the book on Nick Foles? QB rating since 2016 of 92.8. That ain't bad. Versus the AFC South, 6-0. A couple of those were against the Jaguars, but I digress. Postseason rating, 98.8. Speaking of quarterbacks, Phil Simms from CBS breaks down this matchup.
Leonard Fournette's in great shape. Nick Foles are going to unveil their offense here this week finally. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think I'm expecting an upset by the Jacksonville Jaguars.
There you go. Simms breaking it down. Did you know only one defense didn't let Patrick Mahomes throw a touchdown pass last season? Did you know Patrick Mahomes, your reigning NFL MVP, had the lowest passer rating of the season, 62.7? In which game? The game with the Jacksonville Jaguars. How about your final reminder? Jags, Chiefs, Jacksonville, a perfect 2-0 in season openers under Doug Marrone, 13-11 all-time as a franchise. We will see you Sunday, 11:30 a.m. Countdown to kickoff on CBS 47. And, of course, that's where you'll catch the game and your post-game coverage on the Action News Jax Facebook page. Just one race remains before the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup playoffs get going. 4 drivers fighting for perhaps 2 spots. We'll break down the points and see who has the upper hand next.
The first career series for Brunel. Moultrie, the motion man. Fake it to him. He runs second at 12.
Look
and
out.
Brunel with his target, Darius, inside the red zone.
How about a say hey to another Friday star making plays on Saturday, Episcopal grad Joseph Brunel, taking his first snaps as a Georgetown Hoya, finishing it off with a touchdown there against the Marist Foxes. Well done, JoJo.
Hi, I'm Danny Warfel, 1996 Heisman winner. Go Gators, and you're watching Action Sports Jax.
It's the best local sports show in Jacksonville. This is Action Sports Jax Prime Time, sponsored by Jenkins Hyundai of Jacksonville.
Eric Jones in his 100th start.
I saw this one in person last Sunday night, and what a race it was for Eric Jones, picking up career victory number 2 after winning the summer race at Daytona last year. Lots of questions about his future with Joe Gibbs Racing. Well, a win never hurts. In this case, it helped. Jones earning a contract extension in that number 20 car. As we take you out here to the winners from this year. So far, there have been 10 different drivers getting into victory lane. They are all locked into the NASCAR postseason. Also, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. So these 10, Blaney, Larson, all locked in. Meanwhile, the guys who aren't, well, all eyes right now on old 7-time. Jimmy Johnson has never missed the postseason as a full-time driver. That's in serious jeopardy this year. Here's the situation. 2 spots left for 4 drivers. Clint Boyer, well, he's in the proverbial driver's seat, 8 points ahead of the cutoff. Keep in mind, that's only 8 spots in a race, so not insurmountable by any means. Right behind him, Daniel Suarez, currently in that 16th and final playoff spot. But he's got company. He's tied on points with Ryan Newman. When they say every point matters, they really do mean it. So, what about JJ? Well, he faces an uphill climb, down 18 points to Suarez and Newman. One surefire way to make it to the postseason, win. We will have highlights from that final race of the year. Action Sports Jax, primetime on the Sunday edition. They are racing in Indianapolis. That is where they will decide who is going on to the postseason. All right, hope you enjoyed tonight's edition of Action Sports Jax Primetime. That's going to do it for our show. We leave you now with the Edward Waters College Triple Threat Marching Band in the stands, providing the soundtrack for the start of college football here in Jacksonville. Have a good night, everyone.
Complex. I'm blown away by it. What a man says he saw after letting neighbors New at 11, 2 teens trade gunshots with other people outside a local apartment complex. I'm blown away by it. What a man says he saw after letting neighborhood kids hide from the gunshots in his apartment.
Action News Jax joins a mission of mercy.
Men, women, children, dozens of people with their backpacks trying to get on a plane out of here as soon as they can.
A first-hand look at the devastation in the Bahamas.
Live
This is CBS 47 Action News Jax at 11. Local coverage you can count on.
Tonight, a gun battle breaks out in the streets of a local neighborhood, leaving one child shot. I'm Ben Becker.
And I'm Bridget Matter. Police later found out one bloodied child brought a gun into a man's house as he tried to get away. Action News Jax Danny Bozzini is live on Townsend Road in Arlington. Danny, that man says he was trying to be a good neighbor.
Yeah, the neighbor told us that he recognized the two children from the neighborhood, and so he invited them inside his home for shelter. But after a couple of minutes, he realized that one of them was bleeding from what he believed to be gunshot wounds. Police say at 5:20 tonight, several shots fired out at the Townsend Apartments in Arlington. According to JSO, a blue minivan pulled up to two young boys, and after the two boys and someone in the van exchanged words, a gun battle broke out in this quiet neighborhood. One of the boys was left with two non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. One neighbor who didn't want to show his face on camera says he heard so many gunshots that he wasn't even sure what it was.
To the point where I thought it was something else, like maybe somebody was firecrackers or something like that, because it was just that many shots going on.
JSO says one of the boys was taken to the hospital, but both are being difficult to work with the investigators. Live in Arlington, Danny Bozzini, CBS 47, Action News Jax.
Jacksonville has seen 8 shootings in the past 5 days. This is a map showing all of the shootings since Tuesday. There were 2 shootings on Wednesday when Hurricane Dorian was closest, 3 on Thursday, and a double shooting last night. In 12 minutes, how a group of men in purple shirts plan to invade local neighborhoods in the name of preventing future violence.
A 14-year-old boy died after he ran outside into the road in Ocean Way and was hit by a vehicle. That's new information in the last 90 minutes. It happened on Cedar Point Road and Saw Pit Road about 5:30 this afternoon. We brought you the breaking news on Action News Jax at 6. JSO says the teen was trying to get to his family's van when he was hit. JSO says this is the 116th traffic death in Duval County this year.
The Prime Minister says the Bahamas are in their, quote, hour of darkness, end quote. This is new video taken from U.S. Customs and Border Protection helicopter that shows the damage in Abaco. One small part of the island there is as nothing is left standing. At least 43 people have been killed in the Bahamas, where many more remain missing.
Now, Jacksonville is stepping up to help the Bahamas. Action News Jax Ryan Nelson joined 2 local pilots who took supplies to the island. Today, they visited 3 airports in Marsh Harbor, Sandy Point, and Treasure Key. Nelson spoke with survivors who say their situation is dire.
Carolyn, who lives on Great Abaco Island in the Bahamas, says her home is unrecognizable. To her, this scene feels foreign, meaning her walk is slow and dejected, and she's feeling.
When I went to the resort where I work, I cried. Couldn't believe it.
We met Carolyn thanks to tagging along with Jacksonville pilots Bob Thousand and Jimbo Stockton, delivering your donations by hand to the Abacos. We landed in Treasure Key this afternoon to find trees stripped bare and snapped in half like toothpicks. We were hardly the only aircraft bringing help, one after the other. Planes brought supplies from abroad. Others brought a chance to escape Dorian's aftermath.
Men, women, children, dozens of people with their backpacks trying to get on a plane out of here as soon as they can.
We thank God we made it through the storm.
Carolyn echoed the same message, saying she's choosing to never give up, though she knows the road ahead is difficult.
Once you get life, there's hope. You can't get life back, but you can rebuild over. So that's why they try to be as strong as possible.
Ryan Nelson, CBS 47 Action News Jax.
The St. Augustine Fire Department is looking for your help to get supplies to help people in the Bahamas struggling after the hurricane. Fire crews at the Malaga Street Station are looking for survival items like tarps, mosquito nets, flashlights, and water. They're looking to ship them out next week. Action News Jax is teaming up with 104.5 WOKV for a joint Bahamas relief effort. The convoy of care will be set up next Tuesday at the roundabout near Maggiano's in the town center until 2 p.m. We're only collecting the items on our list. That includes water, baby supplies, flashlights, batteries, hygiene products, and dog food.
The Carnival Ecstasy is on its way back to Jacksonville tonight. The ship left Port Nassau this afternoon. The ship left Jacksonville on Monday and was supposed to return Friday, but the return was delayed by Hurricane Dorian. More than 1,100 people from the Bahamas arrived in Florida today on a Grand Celebration cruise ship. It set sail Thursday for Freeport, Grand Bahama, to deliver more than 112 tons of supplies and dozens of health workers and emergency crews. A tourist from Massachusetts describes living through the storm.
Where I was staying, the roof caved in, the wall caved in, it was flooded. It was awful, but I'm here. I made it.
Dorian also caused this oil spill at a storage facility in High Rock, which is on Grand Bahama, a few miles east of Freeport.
Dorian is now a post-tropical storm with winds of 90 miles an hour, and that's as powerful as a Category 1 hurricane. It made landfall in Nova Scotia at 5:15 Eastern Time. Those powerful winds toppled this construction crane in Halifax, Nova Scotia, fell on a building still under construction. There were no reported injuries. Tied up on the Canadian coast, Dorian knocked out power to nearly 500,000 homes and businesses in Nova Scotia.
The Carolinas are cleaning up after their brush with Hurricane Dorian. This is video from the historic Avalon Fishing Pier in Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. You can see some of it right here behind me. North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper visited with people on the Outer Banks. It's as relief crews help distribute water and other items to those who live there.
Hopefully the next one won't come and we'll be all right. Get a little bit of rain today and everything will be good. Everything will be great.
The Coast Guard flew 7 rescue missions in North Carolina, and first responders evacuated 32 people off the Outer Banks. There have been no reports of serious injuries or deaths linked to Dorian. Today, a second man in North Carolina, however, died because of Hurricane Dorian. The 67-year-old collapsed while cleaning storm debris. An 85-year-old man fell off a ladder and died while preparing his home for the storm. 6 deaths in Florida have been linked to Hurricane Dorian. 5 of them involved falls or electrocutions related to storm preparations.
The St. Augustine Pier is back open for the first time since Hurricane Dorian brushed our coast Wednesday. An engineer with the city deemed it safe for beachgoers and fishermen this morning. Action News Jax' Megan Moriarty spoke with one beachgoer who was surprised to see a special part of the pier was still intact.
I was upset for the couple days because the pier wasn't actually open.
Joey Wages is one of several people excited to see that the St. Augustine Pier is back open.
Every day since the storm has came here, I've been worried about these boards.
Wages comes here daily to check in, worrying that one of the wooden boards dedicated to his late friend would be taken by the storm. Luckily, it was still intact.
The pier has been closed since before Dorian even hit. People were telling us that they were finding pieces of the pier in the ocean.
I just came out today and it opened up, I guess, around 8:30 this morning.
A structural engineer checked out the damage to the pier and decided it was safe to reopen and that no repairs would need to be done.
I was happy that when I seen that it was open. I didn't see anybody on the pier as much as there usually is, but I was happy that it was open when I actually got to the bait shop and asked them.
Reporting in St. Augustine, Megan Moriarty, CBS47, Action News Jax.
The National Park Service reopened Cumberland Island National Seashore today. An initial assessment showed Dorian did some damage to some of the docks, but the park has been deemed safe for visitors. Stay with Action News Jax for continuing coverage after the storm. We'll bring you the latest stories on recovery in the Bahamas and the Carolinas. You can also find information on our Convoy of Care drive on Tuesday.
You are looking live at the bank. If you're going to the Jags game tomorrow, prepare for a heat in the seats. But don't worry, the Jags have got you covered. The Jags are relaxing their rules and allowing you to bring 1 bottle of water to the season opener. Here are the details. Fans are allowed to bring 1 commercially branded factory-sealed plastic bottle that is 16.9 ounces or less. Fans could also get a free cup at any guest services booth and fill it at any water fountain. Daly's Place will be showing the game on a large video screen for fans looking for shade. JTA will park 2 cooling buses near ramps 2 and 4. And there will be water stations and misting fans near those buses. Action News Jax is your official Jaguars station, and we're getting you ready for the first game of the season. Coverage begins with countdown to kickoff tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. on CBS47. Then The Jags and Chiefs kick off at 1. And we'll have post-game coverage on the Action News Jax mobile app and Facebook Live.
Palatka police are investigating a body found in a car. According to the Putnam County Sheriff's Office, that body was found in a car in the Publix parking lot off Town and Country Drive. We've reached out to the Palatka Police Department for more information.
A U.S. Army veteran is in custody after Florida authorities say he posted a message online threatening to, quote, murder as many people as I can. The Volusia County Sheriff's Office arrested Leo Arong Jr. for making written threats to commit a mass shooting or act of terrorism. Authorities say the messages were posted on YouTube. Several of the posts were anti-Semitic and referred to the recent shootings in El Paso that left 22 people dead. Officials say Arong told them that he did not mean what he wrote and was merely spoofing another online post. No guns were found at the suspect's home.
President Trump announced he has canceled a secret meeting planned for today with leaders of the Taliban. That meeting was supposed to take place at Camp David, along with a separate meeting with leaders from the government of Afghanistan. In a series of tweets, the president says he canceled the meeting because of a Taliban attack on Thursday that killed 11 people, including a U.S. soldier.
I'm First Alert meteorologist Stacy Garvilla. Dry and hot for the Jags game tomorrow. I'm tracking that forecast and when we cool off a little bit and see the return of rain and the Action News Jax 7-day forecast.
And protecting the Guano Reserve, the deal that could take a development plan off the table, at least temporarily.
And a local invasion with a positive goal, the message these men in purple are working to spread. A group of 250 men dressed in purple shirts are taking the fight against crime in Jacksonville into their own hands. As Action News Jax Felicia Tarancon explains, these men are using their faith to arm themselves against violence.
You may be surprised to learn this isn't a church. It's the YMCA on Cleveland Road over on the north side. But these men dressed in purple are preaching.
You know, we got so much killing going on, and especially in this area.
They call themselves the Invaders, and they want to stop the violence by reaching the youth first.
We want to let the young people know you don't have to settle for drugs. You don't have to settle for violence.
This group tells me they've already talked with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, and their plan is to hit all the areas that are high in crime and violence. Action News Jax told you on Friday about a shooting on West 36th Street that sent a man and a woman to the hospital. It happened a little more than 2 miles from where these men are praying. That's why they feel the need more than ever to hand out flyers at places like the Callaway Cove and Valencia Way apartments, where they see a lot of problems.
We're going to those places in order to maybe see can we talk to the people and get God in their hearts and change the way they live and change the things they do.
Reporting in Moncrief, Felicia Tarrant-Kahn, CBS47, Action News Jax.
The Invaders say they'll bring in more members and hold another walk in 6 months.
The mother of 2 Florida boys who drowned in a swimming pool has been arrested. 23-year-old Wildine Joseph was arrested this morning on 2 counts of aggravated manslaughter, 1 for each of her sons. Police arrested her boyfriend, John Lynn Jr., on the same charges on Tuesday. The boys drowned in May.
New at 11, development of the outpost near the Guana Reserve may be postponed. The Ponte Vedra Corporation is offering to hold off on their plans to build 66 homes for 3 years. But that's only if the county commissioners approve to change their 74 acres from conservation to residential. If it's changed, the developers will give conservation groups and other companies a chance to raise enough money in 3 years to buy their land. It's a move that the Save Guana Now group says won't get them to slow their push to ensure no development happens on the land.
It's certainly, I wouldn't call it bad news in any way. You know, I would say that there's something hopeful about it. But unfortunately, it's not enough that we could, you know, change our strategy or what we're doing or what we're pursuing.
Save Guana Now says their biggest concern is that there won't be an organization with enough money to buy nearly 100 acres of land from the developers, and development would start after the 3 years is up. The public hearing on the issue is September 17th.
Now, certified Jacksonville's most accurate weather forecast. Action News Jax First Alert Weather.
Well, we reached 97 today in Jacksonville. That's a new record, beating 96 set back in 1951, well above that average of 88 degrees. And we have hot conditions expected again tomorrow. Now, last year, the Jags versus the Patriots on September 16th, this was the hottest game since 2003 when you factor in that feels like temp, 106. We will rival that again tomorrow. At kickoff, 96 degrees, plenty of sunshine. Make sure you're drinking water now if you plan to go tomorrow. By halftime, 97. Again, feels like temps anywhere from 100 to 105 plus tomorrow afternoon. Still hot even by the end of the game at 94 degrees, and dry for the Jags game. But where we could see a couple of showers develop is across our northern counties in southeast Georgia. By the late afternoon, early evening hours, anything that develops will quickly diminish after sunset. Now, while we are dry here, still keeping a close eye on post-tropical Dorian, which did make landfall earlier across Nova Scotia. That was hours ago. As of the 11 o'clock update, Dorian is now a Category 1 strength hurricane with 90-mile-per-hour winds. It's quickly moving off to the north and east, but will still bring hurricane-force winds tonight to Nova Scotia and even overnight to Newfoundland. Now, Dorian looks to weaken below hurricane strength by tomorrow. Now, Gabrielle, tropical storm that is tracking out to sea. That is not going to be any concern for us, but this tropical wave off of Africa, as it moves westward here into the middle of next week, there is the possibility that this could become a tropical depression, so we'll watch that one closely. Plus, this new disorganized cluster of showers and storms located about 300 miles northeast of the northern Leeward Islands, as that heads westward into next week, that has the potential of developing into something tropical, but a low chance as of right now, even over the next 5 days. But we'll keep an eye on that. If you're headed to the beach tomorrow to cool off, the surf at 1 to 2 feet, that rip current risk tomorrow is low. And we do get into the low to even in some cases mid-90s at the beaches tomorrow before the sea breeze kicks in. By the mid-afternoon, it'll be cooler there in the 80s, but inland, no chance of cooling down tomorrow afternoon. No rain in the forecast. We have mid and upper 90s expected. Now, I do think a couple areas in southeast Georgia could pick up a quick shower, but before that, 99, 100 degrees and upper 90s there for Glen St. Mary. So hot tomorrow, but tomorrow's really the hottest day of the next 7. We'll actually start to cool down for the start of the week. 94 there on Monday. And then we're tracking those mid and upper 80s and low 90s Tuesday through Thursday with increasing rain chances, especially through Friday and Saturday, which you'll see here now in the First Alert 7-day forecast. Hot still on Monday, 90 there on Tuesday with isolated showers and thunderstorms possible both Tuesday, Wednesday. Rain coverage will start to pick up, especially into Friday and Saturday. And at that point, those highs cooling off to the mid and upper 80s. You can always watch this forecast online. Head to actionnewsjax.com and download for free the First Alert weather app. Meteorologist Corey Sima will be in again tomorrow.
Cleaning out your medicine cabinets. Coming up, what a local hospital group did today to get dangerous drugs out of circulation.
Plus, taking a leap for the arts. We'll show you how Jacksonville is celebrating the arts tonight.
A little high school football on a Saturday night. I'm Brent Martineau in St. Johns County. Rivalry game between Bartram Trail and Creekside. Some big plays in this one. We'll have all the action on Action Sports Jax Prime Time.
£261 of drugs are in safe hands tonight thanks to a local drug take-back program. Memorial Hospital says it collected old and expired prescription medications today. The goal is to have people turn in these drugs so it's less likely they'll get into the wrong hands.
Part of the problem with having expired medications is the temptation to take them when you're not supposed to take them.
Memorial Hospital plans to do another drug take-back in the spring.
Tonight is the night for the arts to shine. Our very own Tanika Hughes hosted the 43rd Annual Art Awards, sponsored by the Cultural Council of Greater Jacksonville. The awards cap off 4 days of activities. They're called LEAP, which stands for Leading, Engaging, Activating, and Partnering.
One of the 80s cultural icons is making a comeback. Right in time for a big anniversary. It's not Culture Club or Duran Duran. Sony's releasing a new version of its Walkman as the device approaches its 40th birthday. The Walkman was the first portable cassette player, Bridget. Came out in 1979. You remember that, right?
No.
Of course, yes. You know, this anniversary edition doesn't play cassettes, actually, but its screensaver and soft case looks like it does. The Android-powered music player cost nearly $500. No
but
way.
You remember it, right?
Well, you know, back in the day.
If you're headed to the Jags game tomorrow, make sure you're hydrating already. It will be hot, 97 there through halftime. It'll feel more like 100 to 105 before that sea breeze kicks in, but I think the game will pretty much be ending before you feel any relief there.
And be sure to join our weekend morning team for Action News Jax this morning. It's from 6 to 9 a.m. on FOX30 and from 7 to 9 on CBS47.
All right, Florida State, what's the deal? Louisiana Monroe in overtime? How they survived. Another nail-biter ahead on Action Sports Jax Prime Time.